What's up, everybody, and welcome to the July edition of Picking Up the Crap, my look at the hardware and software numbers for the NPD North America video game market. I'm your host, the one and only Jodecideion, joined by my partner in crime, TheShooter.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Here are the hardware numbers for the July 2012 North American NPD. Currently, the numbers are very limited due to lack of PR releases from the major companies: Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. The following numbers and estimates were gathered by members of NeoGAF who have inside sources with people who actually have actual numbers. So as of right now, the number one selling home console is once again the Xbox 360, selling 203,000 systems in the month of July. On the handheld side, we do know that the Nintendo 3DS and the Nintendo DS both sold over 120,000 systems in the month of July. Quoted from an inside source, it has been stated that they believe the PlayStation Vita sold under 50,000 systems in the month of July, maybe close to 47,000 systems overall. There are no hard numbers for the PlayStation 3 or the Nintendo Wii due to them not releasing any numbers in a PR statement. Here are the July 2012 top 10 best-selling games for the North American NPD. We currently do not have any numbers on the actual piece of software sold, so I'm just listing the top 10 in order. NCAA Football, 13. Lego Batman 2. The Amazing Spider-Man. Just Dance 3. Batman Arkham City. Call of Duty Black Ops. Assassin's Creed Revelations. NBA 2K12. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Dead Island. Now, for your Pick Up the Crap discussion topics of the month. This month we're looking at the dilemma of the Vitanic. At least that's what I'm calling it. It might be pronounced another way by other people, but I'm calling it the Vitanic. The Vita, Titanic, iceberg, drown, sinking ship. According to the NPD, NeoGAF analysts, NeoGAF reporters, NeoGAF forum dwellers in general, they've come to deduce that the Vita may have sold under 50,000 for the month of July, maybe even 47,000 overall in the month of July. These numbers are not confirmed, but that's what they're expecting. 50,000, 47,000 systems in a month, that's a whole nother level of just fail, you know? And Sony really needs to do something about this. The problem is, with our first topic, doing a recent interview over there with Game Industries International, Sony's main man when it comes to PR and just representing the company for the American department, Jack Tretton, he defends the Vita. He basically says that he feels a lot better about the Vita now than he did 4 months ago. Now, first, how long has the Vita been in North America release? About 4 to 5 months.
Yeah,
So,
sounds about right.
you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that alone sounds crazy. Next, he says that, even with the PS3, which started out in a bad shape, it eventually became something that, they can make money off of and build a market for itself. So he feels the Vita can have that same kind of rebound that the PS3 had. Shooter, I want to ask you what you think about this whole Jack Tretton's view on the current situation with the Vita in the North American market.
Boy, yeah. Well, we see Jack Tretton's at it again. He's doing what comes natural. I admit, like you said, he's Mr. PR. So he's gonna. You got to keep things positive, things like that. And when we know what the reality of the situation is, that again, they're really having a really rough time getting the Vita off the ground. I want to say kind of unrelated, but I want to say on the Japanese front, I see a lot more, as far as the popular titles that have been in the past on the PSP and even the DS and are currently on the 3DS. I see a lot more of those, popping up and everything to possibly, boost things. But at the same time, what does that translate to for worldwide? So that's where they're really hitting again. They're hitting the wall. Or I should say, hitting the iceberg. It's just not it's not looking good at all.
Right, right. I feel the same way, man. I mean, like I said, I understand the PR situation. I understand that you're head of the company. You got to present a positive light and everything. But at the same time, when the overall business of the company, you're going to change your quarterly release numbers from, saying you're going to sell, what was it, 16 million total handhelds to now
That's
10,
yeah.
to now 10, and that's PSP and Vita combined. That shows you don't believe, you feel the product is not going to make what the numbers you expected at the beginning. So you do see there's something wrong with it. And like I said, the Vita's been on the market in the U.S. maybe 5 months, maybe. So saying you feel better about it after the first month than you did in like 4 months later, that's all kind of crazy, because this first month it did, okay, decent, for a launch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're 5 months later, and you wish you had those launch numbers now. You're getting, I mean, basically, I think the Wii is outselling the Vita right now in North America, and the Wii, by a lot. And the Wii, I mean, it's pretty much a system on its very last leg. They're trying to get rid of that, move it out for the Wii U. And so a new system that's been on the market 5 months, it shouldn't be going through these kind of situations if consumers really feel it's a product worth buying. And I don't see any kind of momentum. There hasn't been a new release for the Vita that was a high-profile game since, it launched with Uncharted and everything. I can tell you what was the biggest game that's released since then, and none of those games have showed up in the top 10 at all. So how do you expect, where's this light in the tunnel coming from? Maybe Vita, maybe Sony has something they're gonna show at the GameCon, which is next week in Europe, and maybe they got a lot of games they've been hiding that they feel can be something that really gets the market going here in the West. I doubt it, because from all Sony has are those same games that are on the PlayStation 3, and as we can see, Sony's best-selling games on their system are all third parties. They're not first-party games, unlike Microsoft and Nintendo. And so, if I can't see a Sony-made game being something that's going to help the Vita become something other than the next Virtual Boy, Engage, PSP Go, whatever you want to call it, next dead portable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So now we have the next part of this discussion, and once again, it's going back to the Vitanic. I don't want to. I know people are. This is a show about numbers and facts and everything, and I don't want people to think I'm jumping on the Vita because I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'm enjoying them destroying themselves and failing, But this is some big news going on right now, and to be honest with you, if I don't talk about it, no one else will. IGN, all these other game sites, they never ever talk about anything other than the fall of Nintendo. But we got the Vita over here that's basically it's the equivalent of Leonardo DiCaprio's character on the edge of the plate with the girl, and she's holding his hand, and he about to fall in. You know what I'm saying? I'll never let go, Jack. We're at that point almost. You know what I'm saying? We're at that point. And so the next topic is according to Sony, they're saying they're having a hard time getting third-party support. Now, I don't know if this is for the Japanese market or the Western market. Shooter, what do you feel about this comment? Are they being honest with us?
For a change, I think they are. And again, like you said, it's possible. I'm starting to believe it's more on definitely on the Japanese side, because even currently now, the 3DS, of course it has Western games, but it doesn't have that big support or that big push like it did for the DS, or the DS eventually had. But yeah, they're being honest for a change, in that they have a product with this the Vita that's not it's not capturing the audience like it should, and we know the biggest place right now is the East, or Japan. The 3DS is doing fine against the so-called mobile game uprising. But it's they're because of this lack of show of any type of innovation, or any especially and definitely, and what a lot of people are hollering about, especially here, is the price.
Right.
So that without having that price point there, and without having all the other nice little strings attached. You know, these third parties are like, you know what? Let's go to the 3DS. It's cheaper. It's you know, we came off good with the DS. You know, Nintendo knows what they're doing. Let's go that direction.
Right. And you know, if in a common sense world, I would totally feel what you're saying. But as we saw this generation with the Wii, where it was a dominant home console for years, yet the third party support it received was next to nothing. You know what I'm saying? I can't. It's hard for me to believe that these people actually care about making money and protecting their money. You know what I'm saying? I still feel there might be some companies out there who really feel like they can make a video game and be that first success story. You know, and maybe it could be the Western market, because Western market developers always go to the technology. You know what I'm saying? If they could run the Unreal Engine 3 or something like that, they're willing to make that game on there that will flop instead of building their own engine and put on a game that could make you some money, like the 3DS. You know,
right.
And so I feel they might be accurate where it's not receiving a lot of people. A lot of people are not really backing it as much as they want it, but the support they're getting is way more support than what the Wii got from the same people. You know what I'm saying? Where the Wii was a success, and this thing is right now is just, you know, it's holding on by, you know, for its dear life. You know, Sony has announced that they have a Assassin's Creed exclusive coming. They got a Call of Duty Black Ops game coming. You know, that's from major Western parties: Ubisoft, Activision. EA is definitely going to have some games for the Vita, other sports lineups. So I see the typical guys who make the typical games being there. But I think, honestly, I feel like what they're trying to say is they won't get those certain games. You know what I'm saying? I don't see Rockstar making a GTA for the Vita. You know, where they did in the past, where they just ported up the other ones and put it on PSP. I don't see them doing that for the Vita right now, because it's not worth it to make that a game that quality and put it on there, and you don't get any of your returns. Because even something like GTA that was on the PSP, it didn't sell nowhere near. It didn't sell a fraction what you can sell on the console version. So why you waste that money? You know, a BioShock game. Why would you have a hard time keeping your staff members right now? Why are you gonna make a game for the Vita? You know, and so you know, yeah, we have to wait to see on that. You know, I still feel in the end that third parties will keep the Vita alive, even though it won't have any shelf space in game stores. You know, I can still see games being made for it. I still seeing Kojima from Konami making games for the Vita, even though it is not selling. You know, they had that kind of loyalty, or they take advantage of the hate Nintendo receives from those people. All right, everybody, thanks for watching Pick Up the Crap, the July edition. Please join us next month as we hope to have numbers for the new release of the 3DS XL and new Super Mario Bros. 2. For Pick Up the Crap, I'm your host, Jodecideion, and my man, TheShooter.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
We'll see you next time. Peace.